Hey goalies, Coach Preston here, goalie coach for Johnson Wales University and the South Shore Kings. Today I'm going to be talking about toe attachments. Right? So there's three kinds of toe attachments that we're going to be talking about today. The first one is bungees. Right? So bungees are the most common option that you're going to find in stores, and they're usually geared towards newer goalies or goalie parents. It's the easiest option to get used to, attaching your skate to the pad itself. Bungees are designed to take off some of the stress off the hips and ankles of the goaltender when in positions like the RVH or the butterfly. So you can see the reason they're designed with this little bit of stretch is so that the ankle is able to stretch as that goalie is moving around on the ice. So some of the benefits of this bungee here is, again, like I was talking about, taking some of the stress off, the ease of attachment because it has this little Velcro feature here, right, where it's just easy on, easy off. Right? You don't have to worry about stepping on a skate lace coming undone, or having to adjust any of your equipment in the middle of a play, in the middle of a game. All right? Some of the cons that I tend to see with bungees especially is that over time they begin to fray like this, and so that can lead to issues with them snapping in the middle of a game, and if a bungee snaps, you're kind of out of luck. There's not a whole lot you can do. Right? If you cut a skate lace, you can still kind of tie, you can still kind of figure it out during the game and make something last and then fix it afterwards. Bungees, you have to wait until the end of the game to even fix that bungee. You just have to take it off entirely. Another issue I tend to find is that because the bungee attaches the pad so tight to the skate, you don't get a lot of gap here down by the toe. It typically ends up just being right up against this toe boot here. And so when you're going into the post, there's not a whole lot of space for you to hit a good toe seal on our post. You end up having to flex your ankle to get a little bit of stretch with this bungee to try to get that to fit inside the post. So I noticed that goalies with bungees typically miss their seals in the post a lot more than goalies who use a skate lace option. The other thing I see with bungees a lot of the time is that when a goalie is in the post, if they get into a correct post seal with these bungees here, the issue is that they tend to lag a little bit behind when you push off your post, right? So you can see as I'm in that post seal here, right? If I begin to push off with my foot, the pad starts to go, the bungee lags behind, then it'll snap back last second. So that little bit of lag delays your push, kind of keeps your foot and your body behind for just that split second when you need to go, right? So understanding that using the bungees has its pros and cons. It's usually a little bit better on the hips, knees, and ankles, and it's a little bit easier to attach to the skate, but there is a little bit of lag when you're going into that toe lock, and it's a little bit harder to get into that toe lock on the post. The second option we're going to talk about here, and this is my preferred option outside of the last one that we're going to talk about, which is a little bit more of a custom option. You don't see it much in stores. This one you don't see much in stores as well. You're going to have to put this on after you buy the pad, and that is skate laces. Skate laces, I think, are the best option because you can build in a little bit of a gap here that's going to help you fit into the post. So you can see we have this kind of Y shape with the laces, right? So your skate actually goes right up against that top little knot. So you can see there's a little bit of a gap between your foot and the pad, right? So this little toe box here is what's going to fit, and this little gap here is what's going to fit up against the post when you're going into your RVH. So the benefit of having this little gap here is it makes it nice and easy for you to seal up against that post and that RVH. It's just going to wrap around it perfectly, and there's less loss of energy transfer as you're pushing out of that post, like we saw with the bungees, right? The bungees are going to stretch and then lag and recoil back in, a little bit of a delay. There is no delay with these skate laces. The other thing is, like I was talking about with that gap, a little bit of customization. So you can see my goalie here, he started with just that little bottom knot here, and he said, I think I need a little bit more just to help me get into that seal. So he added a little bit of extra slack at the top. So that just allows you to kind of customize the touch and feel of what you like with the pad. The other thing I like is it adds a little bit of extra rotation with the pad, right? So this pad's gonna rotate a little bit more freely around your leg. So it's gonna help with that seal in the butterfly, and it's gonna help with getting yourself back up to your stance into a nice comfortable position with that pad. It's just gonna rotate nice and freely. The bungee's gonna hold just a little bit tighter against your leg, so it might not rotate as freely, right? The issue with these skate laces, kind of like I talked about with the bungees, is that you have the chance of this coming undone during a play, and you may be stepping on the lace and falling over, you cutting the lace, and then having to try to retie it once a play is blown dead, right? So that's something you're always gonna have to worry about, but if you're double knotting, even maybe triple knotting, you might not have to worry about that. So it's just a little bit more of a reliable option for me. There's no lag on your push out from the RVH. It's easier to seal into that RVH. So the last option here we're going to talk about is actually a true only option. You are able to buy these on the Pro Laces website. So where you find most bungees nowadays from the true manufacturer are actually called Pro Laces. They've been sold in stores and online for many years. But this is my favorite option that I've actually been using recently, and I have a couple goalies that use it right now. It's called a Pro Lace Push. It is a hybrid skate lace, and bungee option. So you can see this here, right? You can see it has the nice little Velcro attachment up by the top where you tie it around your foot. So it makes it nice and easy for you to not have to worry about that skate lace coming undone, and you having to tie it in the middle of the play. It has a skate lace in the middle here, a little bit of bungee up top for some of that flex so you can still get some relief around your ankle. And it has a built-in gap here around your post. True has actually done some research on the proper amount of skate lace to have to fit into your RVH, and so they built that in for you already, so you don't have to worry about tying anymore, lessening it, loosening it, doing whatever. It's already built in for you, ready to go. So all you have to do is just attach it to your foot, and it makes it nice and easy. You still can, like I do. I like to have a little bit of extra slack, so if you want to, right, you can just take those skate laces, you can make another loop over, and there you go. Now you've added a little bit extra slack to your skate lace, right? So this is the best of both worlds option. It works great for the older kids. I think it's primarily on True's website if you were to do a custom pad. It's only a custom option that you can do. They are starting to sell for some sets of gear that as a stock option. However, you are going to have to buy this secondhand if you're a parent or a goalie looking for another option for your skate lace attachment, right? But this is a best of both worlds. If you like that bungee feel, if you like that Velcro up by the top, but you like having that skate lace feel down by the toe box and that nice easy entry and exit out of your post, then this is definitely something you're going to want to take a look at. I'm just going to show you how you actually attach a skate lace to your pad for those who are doing it for the first time, because it can be a little intimidating switching from that bungee to skate lace if you don't know what you're doing, right? So the first thing, just like you would do with a normal hockey skate when you're putting in new laces, so you put it through the bridge, always through the front, and then you just want to make sure that the ends of the laces actually end up nice and even here, okay? So once you do that, now I'm just going to create a first loop. So all I do is with the pad here, right, I tie it around so that I create a loop by the base of the pad here. So right, I tie it all the way down. So now you can see here, I have this nice little loop at the bottom. So after you create that first little loop, I always use my thumb as a good guide. So I go from the top of my thumb right down to the base of the knuckle down here. That's about the gap that you're looking for. 2.5 to 3 inches of slack with your skate lace is the perfect amount to wrap around that post and to give you enough slack for your skate lace to fit into that RVH seal, okay? So I like to do it just another little loop over top. I can now pull it down to the length that I'm looking for. So again, I keep checking with my thumb. So I'll put my thumb right here by the base where I made that first little knot, okay? And then I just keep pulling it down so I can see this one's just a little bit too long. So I pull it down a little bit more. I check one more time. Now we're kind of getting into around that area that I'm looking for. I think that's good for me. So now I'm just gonna do another knot and tie it off at the end, and that's gonna seal the deal right there. So now that I have it tied off, you can see I have a nice little gap built into my skate or built into my pad, and that's gonna tie nicely into my skate. I have the perfect amount of gap to hit that RVH toe seal, and that's what we're looking for, goalies. All right, goalies, just gonna do a quick demo of how you do the bungee toe attachments. As you can see, just going through that front loop there, going right through the middle, and then nice and simple, once you get it through that middle, just pulling it up top, tying it over. All right, so like I said, really easy, really quick for those younger kids and those parents who are helping their kids get ready. It's nice and simple, it's nice and easy, you don't have to worry about anything else. All right, goalies, now we're gonna do a quick demo of the skate laces. So like I said, those skate laces are my preferred option. You can see the little gap there that we have built into the toe bridge. So my goalie here is gonna go through the front loop, through the middle, and then behind the heel, and then just gonna tie it up top, nice and simple. All right, so I usually recommend that you do a nice little double knot. He does a single knot. That's his preference. Every goalie is just a little bit different. As you can see, just like that toe attachment, every goalie is a little bit different. But it's still nice and simple. Should take you only 15 to 20 seconds just to get that thing tied all the way around. All right, goalie, so now I'm just gonna demo this last attachment option here. So this is the hybrid lacing option, that hybrid between the skate lace and the bungee, called the Pro Lace Push, right? So these are starting to become more of a stock option on in-store pads, in-store True pads specifically, but it has that nice combination of the skate lace with the bungee Velcro attachment option up by the top of the foot. So now you don't need to worry about that skate lace ever coming undone, just like you wouldn't with the bungees, but now you have that same feel of the skate laces that you did before, and it looks pretty good.